here with a sturdy spirit of justice. I'm okay. Gonna be fine. I'm not gonna give myself any kind of attack, probably. I'm gonna be okay. I'm fine. I'm gonna pretend, for this episode, that the previous episode was a bad dream. And move on. Shut your stupid mouth. Oh, wow. Starting a new trial. It's so exciting. I'm so excited. Would the witness care to respond? No, Your Honor. Oh, he's sleeping. Did he fall asleep? Mr. Atishon-Wimperson. Mr. Atishon-Wimperson! There are many sides to many issue. What did I ever do to deserve this? I don't know, Apollo. In any case, I'd like the court to acknowledge the inconsistency of the witness's testimony. Mr. Atishon-Wimperson, did you really see Mr. Rebel? Yes. Hold it! Where do you think you're going? Oh, I thought I'd return to my seat, seeing as that I had already answered the question. This isn't some small town hall debate, so you just stay right there until I say we're through. I'll have to run that by my campaign manager before I— Objection! At least Apollo's as angry as me. Mr. Atishon-Wimperson, I think it's time for you to come clean. Huh? So then, does this mean he didn't see Mr. Rebel? As your lawyer, Mr. Atishon-Wimperson, I advise you divulge that matter we discussed. Silence is no longer an option. Are you sure about this? I'm in the midst of running for office. I can't afford to let any strange rumors get out. Don't worry, you won't suffer any blowback for what you're about to reveal. Blowback? I'm not sure I like the sound of that, Mr. Wright. Not to worry, Your Honor. Nothing untoward will come of this, I promise. Now then, Mr. Justice. Remember how it was an anonymous caller that reported the doctor's death? Come to think of it. Emma, who was the first one to discover the body? About that. Whoever it was, it seems they wanted to remain anonymous. What? It happens now and then. Some people would rather not get involved with the police. Seems like it would be hard to do in a small town like this. Wait, you're not saying that— Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. The anonymous source who contacted the police after discovering the body was my client, Mr. Atishon-Wimperson. Holding up his little placard. What? You don't say. So you see, he played his part as a concerned citizen. Quite admirably, if I may say so. But of course, that's, in theory, better for us, because only someone who didn't want the Defiant Dragons to get this item, i.e. politician, would want to kill Dr. Buff. The Defiant Dragons would never do it. In fact, they're the last ones who would. So you see, he played his part as a concerned citizen. Quite admirably, if I may say so. Isn't that right? Yes, indeed! In our society today, there are too many who choose indifference over righteous action, but I don't number among them. That's why I did my duty as a concerned citizen. One might call me the model citizen, one worthy of standing above the rest. A real standard bearer he is, reporting it anonymously. Oh, that's a funny one. You can read my mind? No. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Justice, wasn't there someone else at the scene of the crime when my client discovered the body? You mean Mr. Rebel? He would have been leaving the doctor's house right around then. Wait, that means— Yes, it does. In short, what my client witnessed was Mr. Rebel fleeing the scene of a heinous murder. Ah! And that's not all. Based on what we've heard so far, Mr. Rebel looks exceedingly suspicious, and that's putting it mildly. We already know the Defiant Dragons threatened the doctor with bodily harm. I'm sorry, so why— But they did arrest him in the doghouse, so why was he then let out of jail? To go hang out with us in Khura'In village. Are there two rebels as well? We already know the Defiant Dragons threatened the doctor with bodily harm. And now that they've killed him, the so-called orb transfer agreement is null and void. Ah! Apollo, if we don't come up with some sort of counter argument, and what sort of evidence do you have? Can you actually prove that it was Mr. Rebel who killed the doctor? That move had desperate written all over it. It's all I've got, so I'm gonna go with it. Evidence. I suppose it's true that I don't have any. I knew it! But I do have another witness. You do? You should know I always come fully prepared, Mr. Justice, and my new witness will provide testimony proving Mr. Rebel's guilt.
A new witness? I wonder who it could be.
Very well, bailiff, please summon our new witness. In the meantime, the court will take a brief recess.
Phoenix repeatedly referring to himself as always coming prepared is like the biggest blink twice if you're being held against your will I've ever seen in my life. Either that or it's a really, really bad imposter.
I would like both sides to use this time to prepare properly, understood?
I guess. I'll go cry. Well, that'll get me ready. May 17th, District Court. Defendant Lobby No 3. Wow. I knew Mr. Wright would put up a tough fight, but... yeah, just when I thought we had him, he turned the tables on us. Well, he is the turnabout terror. We can't let him blindside us again.
Looks like they got me again!
Why are you not... like... what's going on with you? I thought you were arrested.
3 times in 1 year! That's a new record!
Dats, please. No more new records or bad puns while you're at it. It's hard enough trying to help you as it is.
Roger that! I'll be more careful next time!
Is what Mr. Wright said true? Did you really pay a visit to Dr. Buff that night?
Sure did. Can't remember the exact time, though. All I know is he wouldn't hand over the orb. Someone put in his head that we rebels were dangerous. That's why he threw me out.
So the doctor was still alive when Dats last saw him. He'll still have to prove it, though.
Better brace yourself, son.
I mean, I guess this is kind of like a deposition. But Dirk is our client, and we were never defending Dats from the start, so I don't know why he's allowed in here.
The next witness's testimony could make or break this case.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I'll probably have to get it wrong 3 times, but hey, where's Trucy? She went to go see her dad. Maybe she's still mad. No doubt. Or like worried. Worried that this trial will create a rift between you two? And that you might then leave the agency? She has an active imagination. I mean, not that active, it happened less than a year ago. You might remember she was being held hostage. Excuse me, the trial will be resuming shortly. Well, let's go see what new testimony awaits us. I'm sure it'll be great, and won't make me mad at all. I'm sure I'll have a completely normal emotional reaction to it, is what I'll do. May 17th District Court, courtroom number 6. Is that the courtroom we were in earlier? Did we go to a different one?
All right, court is back in session. Mr. Wright, you said you had a witness.
Your Honor, I would like to call the lone survivor of the doctor's murder to the stand. What do you mean the lone survivor? Actually, the rest of humanity survived the murder, if I understand correctly. Wait, you can't mean that Sarge is here. You mean Dr. Buff's reclusive son? How did you get him to cooperate? Nothing little persuasion couldn't handle. Poor child only agreed to help if it meant catching the killer. Getting a kid like that to overcome his fear. That's impressive. Well, you don't know that the drone isn't coming out. It must really be important testimony for the kid to come out in public like this.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please, call your witness to the stand.
Yeah, I figured they wouldn't actually have the kid out here. Who are you fooling, Phoenix?
Oh, my! Sergeant Buff at your service, sir!
He's here as the drone? Really?
Mr. Wright? What exactly is the meaning of this?
Past trauma has rendered it impossible for the witness to venture into public. Leaving home was hard enough, and it seems leaving the witness lobby was just too much. Wait, but he is here in the building. But I would still like to continue with testimony delivered via this drone.
I understand it must be terrible to lose one's father like that, but testimony via a remote-controlled toy? Oh well, let's take things for a spin and see how it goes.
Just who's piloting this trial anyway? That would be the person we're not playing as per usual. The dead chair warmed up to the idea fast. I think the phrase you're looking for is gave up.
You disappoint me, Corporal Justice, to think I once called you comrade!
Sorry, why are we angry?
Ah! Defending the man who killed Baba, that's Vaughn treason, soldier! I hereby demote you back to private!
Corporal? Private? What's he talking about, Apollo? It's a long story.
Now then, are you ready to testify, youngster?
I'm not defending Dats a rebel. I'm trying to get the orb back for Dirk, my client. I guess I'm inadvertently defending Dats in that way, but it's not officially what I'm here to do.
Now then, are you ready to testify, youngster? Locked and loaded, sir! Ready to rain lead down upon the perpetrator?
I mean, that's a threat. Issued by a child, but I guess still a threat.
Witness testimony. What happened that evening?
I hope you got some video surveillance.
Papa met with someone the night he died. I didn't have eyes on the ground as I'd already mounted my siege defense, but I did hear him arguing with someone in his study. From my window, I saw the one designated Dats getting ejected from the premises. After that, the man lingered around the perimeter for some time. He must have regrouped and killed my papa in the study later. I just know it.
Why didn't Atishon report having seen him go back in then? Why did Atishon just say he was already dead when Dats was thrown out?
So he was thrown out but later returned and committed the murder, did he?
Yes, Your Honor. So the man my client saw really must have been the fling Mr. Rebel.
Objection! Objection! Right, you backstabbing no good. I didn't kill no one. That's the enemy. Ready all missiles and fire! Whoa, 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 whoa! Capital's big. I'll turn you into pork stroganoff. And that's just a taste of my ultimate anti-swine weapon.
Whoa, fires missiles too?
Can we get back to the cross-exam, please?
Yes, well, the witness is all yours, Mr. Justice.
Thank you.
Just cross-examination. What happened that evening?
I met with someone the night he died. I didn't have eyes on the ground as I'd already mounted my siege defense, but I did hear him arguing with someone in his study. From my window, I saw the one designated Dats getting ejected from the premises. After that, the man lingered around the perimeter for some time. That's what I'm most curious about.
Hold it! That does seem suspicious.
He kept hiding behind trees and telephone poles and stealing glances at our house.
Well, he couldn't exactly leave without the orb. What do you mean he couldn't leave without the orb? He wouldn't have tried threatening Dr. Buff, considering the agreement suggested he wouldn't. Why? Surely he would have left and come back the next day.
I bet he was angry that he'd been kicked out.
I'm so confused by everything everyone says in this trial. Athena?
So Sarge saw Dats too.
And just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I wonder why he hung around after being thrown out.
I hate to say this, but if Dats is proven to be the killer, we'll lose the orb to the plaintiff.
So, well, as much as you hate to say it, that's like the 5th time you've said it. So our only option is to prove that Defiant Dragons had nothing to do with the murder. You is correct. Let's just push on everything then. Papa met with someone the night he died.
Hold it!
Your father met with someone? Could you be more specific?
No! I was in the midst of a crucial defensive siege operation.
Right, you're referring to how you don't leave your room, correct?
You never know where the enemy might be lurking outside the siege perimeter.
What about, school?
Oh! I don't go to boot camp. I'm a soldier.
He already told you that.
Why? This was specifically brought up by him yesterday. That he's not at school yet. Apollo, please. That was only yesterday for you. It was like a week ago for me. And my memory sucks. What is happening in this case? Every new line adds like a complete... I don't go to boot camp. I'm a soldier. A soldier doesn't associate with rookies still too green to fight.
With a kid like this, I bet Dr. Buff won't be getting any rest in the afterlife either.
What? What's happening?
It was very brave of you to come to the courthouse today. What was that you said about a siege defense? I didn't have eyes on the ground as I'd already mounted my siege defense, but...
Hold it!
Sarge, I've always wondered, who or what are you battling?
That's classified.
I think the answer is depression, Apollo. Even so, it may be relevant to this case.
Objection!
I don't know if you're the right person to be asking about things like that.
That's right. Such matters need to be handled with a certain delicacy.
Oh, I guess curiosity got the better of me.
You're all talk of no action, soldier! Out on the battlefield! It ain't the number of pretty words in your repertoire, but the number of bullets in your gun belt that counts!
Easy for you to say. You're the one with all of them. What? Alright. Would the witness please tell the court what he heard and saw that night? I'm just gonna get over it now. I'm not gonna understand one word out of anyone's mouth for the rest of this trial. I understand that. I'm coming to terms with that slowly. You did hear him arguing with someone in his study.
Hold it!
What was the argument about?
I heard things like, "Where's the orb?" and, "Are you Defiant Dragons really criminals?" It sounded real volatile, like a war might break out at any second.
So the two of them had an argument when Dats came to get the orb. Did you see or hear anything else?
Yeah, I heard them arguing, and then silence. From my window, I saw the one designated Dats getting ejected from the premises.
Hold it!
How was Mr. Rebel acting?
Like a conquered trooper retreating with his tail between his legs.
A trooper? Well, I guess he does dress like he's in the military.
I bet those two would have really hit it off had they met under different circumstances.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so the defeated soldier was expelled, but that wasn't the end.
Killing around the perimeter. He must have regrouped and killed my papa in the study later. I just know it.
Hold it!
But don't you keep your front door unlocked? What? They do? Okay. If so, anyone could have gotten in. How did we know that? Just because it was unlocked when he was dead, when Dr. Buff was dead.
That's true. Papa didn't keep our house locked up. He said there was no need because there were only good people in Khura'In village.
And yet he was worried he was being threatened with death?
How? What do you mean he's attorney spirit of justice? He signed a note saying, please, oh God, don't kill me, and then didn't unlock his door? What? My poor brain. My poor brain. Please, have mercy on my brain. He said there was no need because there were only good people in Khura'In village.
Yet he ended up dead anyway.
Only a monster could do what they did to my kind, trusting Papa. There will be no mercy. I vow swift and terrible vengeance. I'll carpet bomb the killer with everything in my arsenal. Fire!
Yes, I see that.
Where I sympathize with you, witness, you will refrain from firing Gatling guns in this court.
So Sarge saw that's...
Right, okay. So I've got to do something here. Any way to prove that Dats wasn't there? Or that he left after he was kicked out the first time? I mean, what I don't understand is, apparently Politician was hiding behind a tree, looking at the dead Dr. Buff, and watching Dats a Rebel go by. But apparently Dats a Rebel was also jumping between trees and telephone poles around there. So Dats a Rebel is running around in circles around this house, while Politician is just standing there, looking at the dead body, and Dats a Rebel doesn't do anything to prevent him from calling the police, apparently is what they're saying? Or no, well actually they've contradicted themselves already, because apparently when Dats a Rebel left the house is when Politician called the police, and not in fact when he left the second time. Unless Politician is supposing that he was only there for the second time. But if that were true, you would have seen the murder in progress, and you would have told us more details than that. I wonder why he hung around after being thrown out. He wouldn't in real life, right? To go get his suitcase? But he didn't. If he was gonna come right back in, I mean, you have to drag him a pretty far way. You have to drag him up this flight of stairs over here and then down this flight of stairs to kick him out, so to speak. Hang on, what can I actually what here is a fact that could be contradicted by anything? Papa met with someone the night he died. I think we're pretty confident that is true. I didn't have eyes on the ground. I can't disprove that you didn't see it. I heard him arguing with someone. I don't see that I could disprove that. I guess we don't know when last night, he was out hiding the orb. We have no time frame on that, only that it happened late. I did hear him arguing with someone in his study. From my window, I saw the one designated Dats getting ejected from the premises. After that, the man lingered around the perimeter for some time. Must have regrouped and killed my papa in the study later. I just know it. This one seems the most contradictable. When he says I didn't have any eyes on the ground, he just means I couldn't see into the room they were at, right? So it's not like I can present this and say your drone could have been out there, because he's simply saying I didn't have my drone out there. So I can't just him. Wait, hang on. What are we saying with this? I'm Sarge, I've always wondered who or what he battle. Oh, right, this is not helpful. Am I just supposed to put the agreement and say that there's no way he would have done it because then he wouldn't get the orb? No, that's too obvious. That's patently obvious knowledge. We've spoken about it many times. Okay, sorry. Starting from the top. Papa met with someone the night he died. I don't imagine I can disprove that, nor would I want to, necessarily. I didn't have eyes on the ground, as I'd already mentioned my siege defense, but I did hear him arguing with someone in his study. I don't think I can prove that you didn't, because there's no one can. I don't think. I have no evidence that you had the drone out there, like in the main foyer that night. You might have heard him arguing and not thought to use the drone to look what was going on. You heard him arguing with someone in his study, presumably from your room, i.e. without using the drone. Sure, I believe that. From your window, you saw Dats getting thrown out. I have no way of knowing if that is true, because the window is not present on this diagram. It seems like it would be hard to see it, even if the window was, like, over here. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. There's no way to know. So it won't be that. After that, the men lingered around the perimeter for some time. Titian didn't suggest as much. He must have regrouped and killed my papa in the study later. I just know it. Is there anything that suggests that someone could have only entered once? I guess the issue is I don't fully understand the scene that supposedly occurred. And it's not that there's one big contradiction, it's that a bunch of little things don't seem to make sense to me. According to the plaintiff's case, at some point, who knows when, politician was hanging around, well, he said at 10 p.m., didn't he? At 10 p.m. he was hanging around right here, behind this tree. That's Rebel walked up, didn't notice him, and entered this thing, came all the way in down here, took off his shoes and whatever, walked up to here such that this dude man could see them arguing. Well, he didn't say he saw them arguing, he said he saw the body. And he didn't even really say that, Phoenix said it. So they entered in, came in somewhere, politician's still just standing there. He and Dr. Buff argue. Sarge hears that and goes up to this window, hoping to see something. They argue and then silence. Buff throws Dats out here. He runs down the stairs, all around the building, including behind trees, behind telephone poles, wherever, and then runs back in, goes all the way down here, twats him on the head with something, and then climbs up to the top shelf of the bookshelves and throws a bunch of books down, and then climbs back down, spills some coffee on a book, and then runs back the way here, all the way up here and out here, and leaves. And through that whole time, politician is just like, I don't understand. You're describing a Three Stooges sketch, not a murder scene, and I don't fully understand what happened. But the only clue they give me here in the little chat that Apollo and Athena have, which it's not always directly correlated to your things. Sometimes they're just wondering idly. But Apollo asks, I wonder why he hung around after being thrown out, almost as though either that didn't happen, or there's some reason that happening means he couldn't have killed him. But since I don't understand what they're saying happened at the scene anyway, I don't know how to disprove any of it. Papa met with someone the night he died. He met with someone? Could you be more specific? No. But then later says it was Dats. Well, I guess he's just later saying that Dats was thrown out, but someone he was meeting with could have been someone else. So I have no idea who he met with, Sarge is saying. I did hear him arguing with someone in his study. What was the argument about? Where's the orb? Are you defiant dragons are like criminals? So unless that was staged, he was talking to a defiant dragon. If not Dats. I heard them arguing and then silence. And then you did see Dats get ejected from the premises. So you don't actually know if he was the one in the argument, or if there was even a third or fourth person there. You heard some arguing between two people, you're not sure if one of them was Dats, and then you're sure Dats got thrown out. What I want is politician to retestify, because with all this information, I don't understand how what he said makes any sense. And Dats apparently hung around outside for a bit, just running around behind telephone poles and stuff. He couldn't exactly leave without the orb. It feels like that's meant to be a clue to me. Are they asking me to put the agreement here? Because we've already established... It can't be that, because we already established that the Defiant Dragons don't have a motive to kill him because... Well, I guess they didn't literally say that, but it's the entire existence of this piece of evidence which the judge acknowledged exists. Whatever. Let me try and present it. Okay, of course that wouldn't do anything. Please take a look at this piece of evidence. I'm looking, but what am I supposed to see? Oh, as your boss and mentor, here's a bit of advice. Never present evidence before you have a good grasp of the situation at hand. I'm not gonna get a good grasp of the situation, Phoenix. All right, sorry. And as a presiding judge, here's a penalty. Ouch, double team for just doing what Mr. Wright always does anyway. I wonder why he hung around after being thrown out. Me too. It could be like one of like 6 things. He wanted to get his passport back, he saw who really killed Dr. Buff, he wanted to go back in and apologize and try and resume negotiations about the orb. If we only knew when it was that Dr. Buff left last night to go hide the Founder's orb, we would at least have some idea of whether that was before... Well, I guess it was before he was killed. I guess that sort of is the only thing that makes sense. So if Dr. Buff had just got back in from the rain... But I'm assuming that if it's a matter of... Well, no, Dr. Buff wasn't wearing his shoes. He's in his socks in the photograph. So it's not like his shoes were wet and he slipped off that way. And it really was accidental. No, they said his head was struck with the corner of something in the autopsy. So that... It wasn't that he was... He actually did not legitimately die by falling on the floor. I suppose he could have been struck by, this. It could be something really weird, like Dirk was there and killed him for this. And then Dirk was all... he hid it in the cave nearby so that the blood would get washed off when the tide came up and down. And then he just went, "Oh, Apollo, we should go have a look for this orb." Just to make it seem like they found it out of nowhere. I doubt it's that. But I don't have a clear picture of what they're saying did happen. I need to, because, so obviously what we're saying, generally what happens in these games is they're saying something happened that didn't. Or they're omitting something that you would obviously note. So, let me just break it down to nothing. I have no idea what's happening here. Building it back up from nothing, because presumably, again, if you had saved this game here and come back to it in like a month, they wouldn't expect you to remember a politician's testimony. So forget his testimony. All I need to know is that, according to the photograph, Atishon says he saw Tats fleeing. Papa met with someone the night he died. I didn't have eyes on the ground, which I presume means you weren't looking in the study, as I'd already mentioned my siege defense, but I heard him arguing with someone in his study. You saw Dats get kicked out, and then hang around for some time, and then regrouped and killed your father later, you think. But there's gotta be a visual detail I'm missing in some of the evidence we already have. Because this seems so ridiculously vague right now. There must be something that's like, oh, of course it's that. Where if I were just looking at the right thing, it would contradict something that's being said. Because right now, what they're saying is, their case for why Dats is the killer is, I heard someone argue, Dats was there, no, then he left, no, then he was around, and then he came back probably. And politician's like, I saw it, I think, and reported it. Like, it means nothing, anything that's being said. So it has to be like, there's an obvious visual indicator of why Dats couldn't have gone back in, why he couldn't have gone back in a second time, or why else he would have gone back in aside from killing him. Like, there's something obvious that belongs to him in this photograph or something. And the fact that they're showing just enough of his leg to show that he wasn't wearing anything on his feet feels important. But I cannot say how just yet. Your only option is to prove the Defiant Dragons had nothing to do with the murder. Right. So we're not even necessarily proving that he came back in for something else, just we have to prove that he did not. There's no way that Dats could have been the one who killed him. So, this man who was convinced he was going to be murdered left the door unlocked. The person who he was convinced was going to murder him came in. They had an argument. He threw him out in a heated moment, and then proceeded to not lock the door again. And so he just walked back in and bonked him on the head with something, is what everyone's saying. And then climbed up his ladder and hucked a pile of books down onto him. They're being vague enough with this that it's not like I could say, well, why would there be a coffee stain on it if they were, having an argument? Because that coffee could have gotten there any time. Well, we know it was in the last 48 hours, they said that at some point, but they were earlier saying that blood got onto this book because he was attacked while he was picking it up out of the bookshelf. So they're suggesting Dats snuck back into the second floor and down that tiny staircase and snuck up to him right in front of the window and bonked him on the head, and then climbed up and threw all the books down in order to frame him? Frame it as an accident, I mean? So the defeated soldier was expelled, but that wasn't the end. After that, the man lingered around the perimeter for some time. Kept hiding behind trees and telephone. Nothing I pushed here has added anything, so I assume I don't really need any of the information from the pushing to do any of this. I assume it's just from the basic statements that I can present something. I keep coming back to they want me to say that the drone has a camera and microphone on it, so you should be able to tell us more than this vague nonsense, but I don't know where I would present that. On just, I didn't have any eyes on the ground? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna die on this, but I may as well try. What? Sarge, are you hiding something from me? How dare you question your superior officer like that? You wanna get in on the strong enough action with... Sorry, are they gonna say that I should have just assumed he had the drone out there? How was I to know? How was I to know? That's like assuming that because Apollo has a cell phone, I definitely took a photograph of the person who shoved us in the cave. It's like you're making like 6,000 assumptions there. How the shit was I supposed to assume that? He literally said he didn't see. But... Maybe I just don't understand yet. You wanna get in on this strong enough action with Pig Boy over there, soldier? Sorry, but I'm afraid lawyers are missile-proof. That is patently untrue. What? Would defense care to explain? No, really. I'm really tired. Can I go home? It's simple, Your Honor. Just as he's able to see what's happening in court right now, Sarge was able to see what was happening in the study then. With his cherished drone, of course. There is nothing anywhere that suggests he had the drone out at that time. That's just a guess. It's a guess.
It's a guess!
Need a minute. I need a minute. Video games!
I'm better now. I got it all out. He saw it with his cherished drone, of course.
Oh! Now that you mentioned it, and to think the answer was right before our eyes this whole time.
Sarge, you were perfectly capable of patrolling the study that night. So you must have seen something. What? Sarge, your drone was perfectly capable of picking something up, a blunt object, and smacking the doctor with it. So you definitely killed him. What the fuck are you talking about?
Damn it! What is this strange new weaponry you're using against me?
I don't know, what's the strange stuff dripping out of your drone? Courtroom warriors don't use guns or missiles because evidence is our weapon of choice. And the evidence is exposed to your bald-faced lie. My truth bomb, Sarge, has stripped your defenses bare.
Truth bomb? No! Mayday! I'm going down!
Good job, Apollo, you broke the drone. Now he can't talk to us.
Oh my! Are you alright? Evidence! Never have I seen such fearsome ordnance.
Tell it to us straight, Sarge. After all, you want to help your father, don't you?
Papa.
Yes. You want to find out who killed him, don't you? So please, tell us what you saw that night.
It's not what you think. I didn't see anything. I swear.
You sure? You seem awfully stressed for someone who didn't see anything.
No, not misapprove, I take it back!
Sarge, you need to answer my question.
Shut your pie-hole, maggot! It'll be a scorching day in Siberia before a lowly private like you orders me around!
What's with him in Siberia, of all places? But if a scorching day is what it'll take, then maybe it's time to turn up the heat. Hey, Athena? You think a therapy session might help? Well, it could help alleviate some of his anxiety. Oh, right, I was about to say, how can you tell that from while he's remotely, but you do it via voice, so that makes sense. Plus, I'm picking up a lot of discord in Sarge's voice. It usually means the patient wants to say something but can't for some reason. And in Sarge's case, I imagine whatever's plaguing him is pretty severe. In that case, I'll leave it to you and your Moon Matrix magic. You got it! Your Honor, I believe I can be of help here.
Time for a therapy session, is it, Miss Sykes?
Yes, it will help the witness with his anxiety, maybe even enough to testify.
Then by all means, please bring the poor child out into the light of day. Oh, but I assume this will be all right with you, Mr. Wright?
Why not? It's not like we all haven't been through this before. Jesus Christ, man, I never thought I'd say this, but shut your stupid mouth, Phoenix. Why are you being such an irritating bastard? Holy shit. I haven't been this angry at any video game in my entire life. Mother of God. I think this may be one of the angriest I've ever been at any video game. Like, I was frustrated in the Wii Sports playthrough. I was tired in the Hat in Time Death Wish struggle run. But I'm just like, angry. I'm angry at everyone in this room in this game. Except Athena. She hasn't been doing too much to annoy me. And Apollo hasn't been doing too bad. And Sarge is a kid. Okay, I'm not angry at everyone in this room. But I'm intermittently angry. So much in this case.
What are you butting in for, lady? There ain't no place on a battlefield for you!
It just cannot be Phoenix Wright. There's no way Phoenix would be this just blatantly cruel and rude to his mentee who almost died last night and this poor kid whose father was murdered, even if he were being coerced by the Grand Regime somehow or something. Like, this is just so weird. Anyway, sorry. I beg to differ, Sarge. This G.I. Jane is always ready for a fight in the courtroom. Wait until you see what I've got in my arsenal. Analytical psychology. With it, I'm gonna blow a big ol' hole in the armor you've built around your heart. That was a pretty sick line.
First evidence, now analytical psychology! Where are these WMDs coming from? Well, if it's a battle you want, bring it on! You may have started this war, but I'm going to end it! Corpse woman psych!
Not a word I've ever heard before. You got it, Sarge. Time to seek out the agony buried deep in your heart.
Brace yourself!
Beep boop. Little therapy session is just what I need too.
I stayed in my room with my drone that evening. I heard Dats and Papa arguing with each other.
So it was Dats, you know that for sure. Okay?
Dats got kicked out, but I saw him still hanging around outside. I was in my room, so I didn't know Papa was dead until the next day.
Right. So I'm looking for unexpected emotions and unnatural reactions, right? Right. Emotions and reactions that don't fit the content of his testimony. When you find one, make sure you point it out to me. Also, remember not to view his emotional reactions in isolation. Sometimes it's important to see how they change from one statement to the next. Yes. Okay, I'll give it a try. I stayed in my room with my drone that evening. You might just be still sad over your mom and everything. I heard Dats and Papa arguing with each other. Surprise goes up. Dats got kicked out, but I saw him still hanging around outside. That's some serious sadness for that. Sadness and surprise. So, got it? I didn't got it. That's a normal thing. You should be very, very sad that Dats got kicked out. This emotion isn't that out of place given the statement. Part, you're just looking at his emotions as they relate only to a single statement? It's really important to look for emotional fluctuation between different statements, too. Ah, right. Thanks for the reminder, Athena. Alright, let's try that again. I was in my room until I didn't know Papa was dead until the next day. So I guess what they're saying is I should put the surprise there because he's... But I think he's that's weird because he's talking about I was in my room. So, of course his surprise would go down. That doesn't make any sense. They're about to say you reacted with shock when you discovered your father's body, but less shock than when Dats got kicked out. Which is completely incorrect because that statement just then was, I was in my room, so I didn't know Papa was dead until the next day. The statement was not, I discovered Papa's body.
Every single...
Okay, it's fine. I've just been transported to an alternate dimension where I don't understand how this video game works. It's all a bad dream. I'll wake up soon. That's strange. You reacted with shock when you discovered your father's body, yet you weren't nearly as shocked as when you saw Mr. Rebel. Normally you'd expect the death of one... If only someone had said that. Normally you'd expect the death of one's father to be much more impactful.
Enemy fire! Direct hit!
That is strange. I wonder what it can mean. Well, we know he wasn't as affected by his father's death as he should have been, and I think I know why. Huh? Sarge, you weren't as shocked at seeing your father's body as seeing Mr. Rebel because you're scared of Mr. Rebel, you've already seen his body. Sarge, maybe the truth is, you left your room that night, and that's when you saw it. Your father's body.
I saw no such thing!
Really? You didn't see his body? Alright then, what did you see? So you did leave your room, okay?
Look, Apollo, you've lost the noise.
So, just as I suspected, he really did see something.
Sarge, please, tell us what you saw.
But... When I saw it, I couldn't bear it. I couldn't stand to let me lose yet another loved one.
Huh? Am I missing something here? Is that why you weren't very shocked when you found out your father was dead? Because you had already sensed that he was a goner somehow?
Maybe.
Please, Sarge, what was it you saw on the night of your father's murder?
I saw...
What's happening?
I don't like where this is going.
No more, please!
Help!
Snatched widget.
I've confiscated your little toy. The battlefield is no place for unauthorized equipment.
Bailiff, would you please retrieve my robot from the drone?
Where's it? Apollo, I can't continue the session without him.
Calm yourself, this innocent witness. I hereby order you to submit to your therapy session. What in blazes?
He took the gavel too, did he?
Look at me! I'm judge, jury, and executioner now! I hereby convene a military tribunal!
Contempt of court. Can a witness be held in contempt of court? I guess so.
Whoa. This has gone way too far.
Arrest that drone this instant! Stop resisting!
I'm just openly shooting the bailiff as well. If you don't come quietly, I'll fire! All this was much too gruesome for for the viewing public to see, so that's why it's all been censored, you see. Okay, good. Well, that may as well have happened. I think that is a perfect summing up of my mental state right now. Just a whole bunch of missiles and bullets everywhere and explosions and pain and blood.
Finally got him back. Nice work.
This witness is truly a handful.
Athena had to step in to get it back. The bailiff couldn't do it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Miss Sykes, what's the witness's current psychological state? Any guesses? I can tell you it's not good news.
Let's see. He's emotionally all over the map.
So his out-of-control emotions are in control of him, huh? Does that mean we can calm him down if we can figure out the root cause?
Yes.
So let's see what we can find. I mean, it's certainly a good first step.
Sarge, can you hear me?
Is that you, Corpsewoman Sykes?
I'm here.
I guess it would be core woman, Sykes. I've just never heard that word. I guess corpsman is a word. Maybe?
I'm here. Now I want you to take a few deep breaths. Just try to relax. Try it with me. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out.
In. Out. In. Out.
And now, let your emotions take you where they will.
Go on! Just let it all out! All forces, attack!
That's the least relaxing breathing exercise I've ever seen.
But it's going to give us an update, all right. So shock and sadness are out of control. That seems fair to me. Tats was still hanging around after he got kicked out when I heard more fighting, and I got worried about Papa.
Info update.
So I left my room, but suddenly I got dizzy and passed out. I remember a flame lighting up the room, and Papa grinning with delight. What? That's when he must have been killed. If only I hadn't passed out. So we've obviously got, like, we don't know what he was hit with, but the flame is news, right? So maybe that could be causing some of this? Considering his mother was killed in a fire, that would certainly cause something, right? I have to imagine that's not good for him to have seen.
Got it? Got it! That's it! Sarge! You were overcome with shock and fear when you saw those flames, weren't you?
Was I?
Yes, just 6 months ago. You and your mother were caught up in an arsonist's blaze, so it's no wonder you would be extremely scared of fire.
Yes, that does make sense.
And maybe, just maybe, your subconscious fear of fire was what caused you to withdraw from the world.
What do you mean, Corwin Sykes?
In the outside world, you were bound to come across all sorts of fire. Candles, cigarettes, heck, even the grill at a diner. Even if it's not that often, just the idea that you might see them grew bigger and bigger until you couldn't shut it out.
I think you might be onto something. Candles, cigarettes. Just thinking about them sends a chill down my spine.
Wow, things I take for granted.
Now I see. I was afraid. Afraid of the fire. Strange. I didn't even realize it myself.
About that fire, Sarge, can you tell me what it was burning? Just stay calm and maybe something will come to you.
Oh, Oh! I'm starting to remember. It was that relic. That relic Papa was studying. It was on fire.
The orb was on fire?
Mm-hmm. It's still kind of fuzzy. But yes, the orb was burning right in front of Papa. And there, in the flames, was Mama? Yes, yeah, now I remember. I saw Mama appear amid the dancing flames.
Wait, what? Yeah, huh?
Uh-oh. We're gonna be like, that was the soul of Amy Faye in the crystal, therefore this is the crystal of Amy Faye. Is that where this is headed? Oh, scallops. Smithers, I'm displeased with this turn of events.
What's going on here? Maybe it's a memory from the fire that killed his mother. He might be confusing it with what really happened when his father died. So, let me guess, more therapy? Yep. But this time, it seems there's an inconsistency in his statements, and I think we should be able to prove it with the evidence at hand. I hope this inconsistency is the key to proving that the relic really is the Founder's Orb.
Me too. So obviously there was 30 noise still. That's what's hanging around after he got kicked out. When I heard more fighting and I got worried about Papa. I left my room, but I got dizzy and passed out. Which you mean you passed out, not the drone fell apart. Remember a flame lighting up the room and Papa grinning with delight. The relic was on fire and I saw Mama's face inside. Oh, info update here. That's when Papa must have been killed, if only I hadn't passed out. I guess we can say... we could put the Founder's Orb here because it was supposed to be in the ruins after he died. He hid it in the ruins before it dying, so the fact that he had it at the moment he died doesn't make any sense. Objection! Right?
Don't blame yourself, Sarge. After all, even if you hadn't passed out, the outcome would have been the same.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the time of death. Your father wasn't killed right after you left your room.
What? Explain yourself at once, Private Justice!
You said you saw your father burning the orb, right? But that night he went out to hide it in a cave. So what you saw, Sarge, was something that happened before your father left to hide the orb. So you didn't pass out right before he was killed. You passed out right before he left for the cave to hide the orb in the ruins within.
So, even if I hadn't passed out, or someone else hid it in the ruins, using his raincoat. So even if I hadn't passed out...
That's right. The outcome would have been exactly the same. That's because your father, Dr. Buff, was killed after he returned from the ruins. And therefore, Sarge, there's no need for you to blame yourself.
Oh. I see. Private Justice? Can you really say I bear no blame in this?
Why do you ask?
Because the truth is, if I had engaged in my siege defense, Papa would still be alive.
Sarge?
Papa wished nothing more than for me to lead a happy, healthy life. That's why he quit his job and moved us out, away from the big city. But even then, I didn't have the courage to set foot in the outside world. I've never seen it do like a dolly zoom like this. This is super cool. And in the end, I failed to make Papa's wish come true.
Sarge? Sarge, if you want to make your father's wish come true, if that's what you really want, then who's to say it's too late? Why don't you take the first step now?
My first step?
That's right. You can cast off all your regret. You can stop standing still and start moving forward. You have the power within you. I know from experience. I know what it's like to feel like you do. But only you can decide to take that first step. If you don't change your tactics now, Sarge, the victory you seek in the war you're waging will always lie beyond your grasp.
I think I understand now. I've made up my mind. As of this moment, I will suspend my siege defense indefinitely.
Bravo! Good for you. I'm very proud. I'm happy.
Now we're gonna get to see the actual kid behind the legend. This witness stand just sucks. It's not good for any of our witnesses.
Huh?
Sergeant Buff, reporting for duty.
What? I thought you were a guy.
I figured it was a girl, considering they kept saying kid over and over, and then forced all the other characters to refer to him as sir. It was just like, no one screams, I'm a male character that much if they are actually.
You're definitely not the gruff drill sergeant I envisioned.
Well, my mama was in the Russian army.
I was just as shocked, but it certainly explained a few things when I found out too. May I introduce you, Miss Army Buff, age 12. That's a really good one. Because it's like Archie, but it's Army, but that actually sounds like a name. Like it could be short for Armenia or something. Armanda.
No way.
Careful, soldier. Don't forget I could blow you away at a moment's notice.
She's just too cute. So, have you always been in a wheelchair, Sarge?
Negative. Only since I was injured in the fire.
Your voice sounds awfully different from before. Oh, so I should be changing it now. I thought it would make sense to just keep it the same, but apparently she was using a voice modulator, so fair enough that it would be different.
My drone features a voice modulation device. It's just one of my Army's many technological marvels.
Well, you fooled me. I thought some 20-something military fanatic was at the controls.
If it's all the same to you, troops, I'd like to continue my testimony. I've just remembered something, and it's as crisp and clear as the trumpeted roll call.
What did you remember?
It wasn't my mother who appeared in the burning orb. It was some lady Papa had shown me a picture of a long time ago. He said it was the Holy Mother, the founder of Khura'Inism.
Oh, well, that's much better. I thought it was going to be Amy Faye, and I was like, oh, we're so dead.
She appeared right there, right in the burning orb.
Huh?
What did you just say?
Well, that's good, but that won't be all. Faceless and everything. Noise level 0.
Thank you for your service, Miss Army Buff.
The Holy Mother of Khura'Inism was in the burning orb? What does that even mean?
I have a bad feeling about this. Could this explain what Sarge means by the Holy Mother appearing in the burning orb?
Take that! Dr. Buff's research notes? What do they have to do with this?
They mention that whole stuff. Offer thy prayers as fervent as fire.
Look at this! The burning orb, the appearance of the founder, this part points to both.
Offer thy prayers as fervent as fire.
Take that!
There's a legend about the orb involving a mysterious riddle. And this song, in turn, is said to contain the key to solving it. If the legend is true, then I believe the answer lies in this part of the song. Offer thy prayers as fervent as fire. Only then shall the Holy Mother return. Ah, so what Dats and he were really doing there was trying to crack the riddle together, because the last we'd heard from Dr. Buff in the email was that he wasn't able to figure it out, I suppose. So that's why his face lit up with delight when on the fire, because he'd cracked it.
Well, anyone see where I'm going with this?
Prayers as fervent as fire. You're supposed to set the orb on fire? The whole stanza seems to suggest that the founder will appear if the orb is set on fire.
Wait. So, the doctor, he...
Yes, Athena. He had solved the ancient riddle of the founder's orb.
Oh my!
Little H helipad thing on her helmet.
Papa was a great archaeologist. So, I believe in him. And I want to believe he achieved his long-time dream of solving that riddle before he died.
Well, we won't know for sure until we try for ourselves.
Yes, do it, Private Justice, please. I want to see what Papa was searching for with my own eyes.
Objection!
The plaintiff must object to this.
Objection.
The plaintiff will stand down and be quiet. Objection!
You don't have the right to set a precious relic like that on fire. Objection! Oh, but I do. All I needed was Sarge's permission. Since we still don't know if this treasure is the founder's orb or the crystal of Amy Faye, any ownership rights the doctor had now belong to his daughter. Therefore, you have absolutely no right to stop us. I don't know if that's actually true, but I do like it as a plot point. Because it adds her agency and all this as like a part of her character growth, which is really cool.
Very well, Mr. Justice. I never thought I'd be saying this, but you may burn the evidence.
All right, here we go. Oh, do you want to turn yourself away from this, Miss Buff? Would that be better? So we're not, like, causing any undue stress? Ching! Is that the same lighter that almost got Athena murdered last game? Did you see Athena was so hyped for this? And I must admit, I feel the same.
Look! Apollo! The inside of the orb! It's melting!
It's gonna reveal something inside, like a figure of her.
There's something in there.
So it's all like wax in there or something.
Ah! Jerk, isn't she?
We're not supposed to see her face.
Her garb leaves no room for doubt.
It's the founder herself. I didn't realize Dirk was here.
Face and all.
Can you say you know someone's face if you can't see their eyes?
I don't understand. The greatest of taboos in Khura'Inism is the depiction of the founder's face.
So maybe the legends were wrong and it doesn't give you the ability to channel, it just would give someone the ability to channel the Holy Mother herself. This must be the part of the passage that was blanked out somehow.
Yet here it is, hidden within this orb.
Founder's Orb updated in the court record. Heating the Founder's Orb revealed the statue within.
Sorry, Mr. Wright, but as you can see, the issue is crystal clear.
Wait, so, but if they burned it last night, does it like, come back after a few minutes? And if so, how?
This figure is the Holy Mother, founder of Khura'Inism. And based on that, this must be none other than the Founder's Orb. Objection!
Be that as it may, Mr. Rebel still may have killed the Doctor. If so, it would render the orb transfer agreement null and void. All right, and you're saying that because we now do know for a fact it's the Founder's Orb. So now the ownership rights are subject to that note. I see what you mean.
Don't play dumb, Mr. Wright. The truth of the matter has already been proven. Dr. Buff wasn't killed after Sarge saw Mr. Rebel. It happened after the Doctor came back from hiding the orb. And you've no proof that Mr. Rebel was still around at that time. Your claim that the Defiant Dragons were behind the crime doesn't hold water. And that means the orb transfer agreement is still perfectly valid. Admit it, Mr. Wright. I just burned your whole case to the ground. No! I won? I actually won?
There hasn't even been a checkpoint in the middle, Apollo. Let's not be so silly.
Mr. Wright, would you care to respond?
Respond?
I didn't think so. Wait, did we just win? Did we actually beat the Turnabout Terror? You're amazing, Apollo!
Don't just stand there, right? Do something.
Well, I don't think there's any digging out of this hole.
Mr. Atishon-Wimperson, I think it's time for your confession speech. I have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is the Founder's Orb. The facts don't lie, but you obviously do. How's that for a campaign slogan?
Why, you contemptuous peasant.
I think this is a good time to wrap up this trial, but doesn't that still mean the orb goes to... Oh, right, okay, well, in that case, it would still be Army's property, I guess is what they're saying. Which case, she might give it to us or something. if Dirk asks real nice.
I think this is a good time to wrap up this trial. If both parties have no further objections, I will render my verdict.
Do you think Inga's gonna come out and object? Or maybe Edgeworth? Since he's floating around, we seem to think.
No objections here, Your Honor.
No,
Hold it.
I'm gonna guess it's Edgeworth.
Oh, hold it! You can't do this. The crystal is mine. I'll lose the election if I lose that crystal.
I'm sorry, but there's really nothing more I can do.
You haven't forgotten about our little chat, have you?
What's going on here?
Objection!
Your Honor, I object to the defense's last claim.
What?
I don't believe they have truly proven that the relic is indeed the Founder's Orb. I'd love to see where he's going with this. Next time on External Spirit of Justice. Sorry again for the impetuous behavior on my part. I think we're maybe climbing out of the mire. That was the first whole portion of this case. I'm cooling down a bit. I said some things I regret to Phoenix. I said some things I regret to Apollo. I've sufficiently made everyone upset. And on that note, let's call this here. I'm not sure what video is going up next on the channel, as the schedule will get swapped around a bit as Hitman 2 finishes, and that has happened before this video, I'm pretty sure. But it will be on screen right over there.
That be all.
Oh, I'm so sorry this game keeps turning out this way. Literally every case but the first one has had something like this. Although this case, it was just that for 2 hours. This is definitely the longest the game has made me mad consecutively. I have no idea what it is. Like, because Dual Destinies had like 2 moments that really ticked me off. There was something in the aquarium that I'm forgetting about. Oh, right. That Phoenix and Athena didn't check the camcorder they were given and just kind of forgot about it. And then at the end of Dual Destinies, when they were like, we have all the footage from the time of the crime, and that was just a blatant, straight up lie. Those were the 2 that ticked me off in that game, but they were pretty far apart, and even though I wasn't doing great in that game otherwise, usually when they had explained stuff to me, I was like, alright, I'm getting it. But in this game, I have no idea what it is. Each case, save for the first one, has had something where I just do not understand what they are saying to my dumb face for as long as they're saying it, and no matter how much I look at it, it seems like they're contradicting one of their own rules set forth by this universe, or relating to things that aren't related, or punishing me for something that is then gonna be important in a minute. So some combination of just really, really horrific luck and my just utter and pure inadequacy is collaborating in a very unpleasant way in this playthrough, and I'm very sorry about that. But anyway, our rate of errors has slowed down somewhat as this case has gone on, so hopefully we can carry that out towards the end. And that's all for now. Thank you so very much for coming around. Hopefully I'll see you around. Admiral's gonna be out of here now.
Peace!
I didn't think so. Was that the door closing behind me, or was that here also? Key, is it? No, it just could be there, I guess. Alright, so as long as I don't go too far up in here, I can get like a few